All right, for this drum lesson, we're going to learn how to play the hi-hat, and we're going to learn how to play a basic drum groove. So let's review where our bass drum and snare drum were. Bass drums C1 with our middle finger, snare drums our index finger on D1, and I'm sure you remember this. Okay, so that left hand is going to be just used for bass drum and snare drums. Okay, the right hand is going to get involved now, and we're going to play the note F sharp 1. So here's the note F sharp, and here's the sound of what we call a hi-hat. Okay, what a hi-hat really is, it's two cymbals that are sandwiched together. Okay, so the two cymbals are kind of one on top of the other, and there's a pedal that goes underneath your left foot. So as you push the pedal down, it pushes the two cymbals together, and you get a tight sound if the pedal is pushed down with your left foot. So imagine you're pushing your left foot towards the ground, and you're pushing down on a pedal, and it's clamping down the two cymbals. That's what a hi-hat is. Okay, and so as you loosen your left foot, those cymbals tend to come apart, and they will make a looser sound. Okay, so when they're tight, when they're close together and your left foot's pushed down, we call that a closed hi-hat. Here's the closed hi-hat. It's F sharp 1. That's the first one we're going to learn. Later on, we're going to actually play the open hi-hat, which is your ring finger. And that's what it sounds like when they're apart. And that's on the note A sharp 1. So closed hi-hat is F sharp 1. Open hi-hat is A sharp 1. All right. And the way they're programmed here is when you play an open hi-hat and you go back to a close, it cuts off the sound of the open, because that's how a real hi-hat would work. Since it's only one set of cymbals, it can only really do one or the other. So for this lesson, we're going to just use the closed hi-hat. Okay? So let's bounce up and down with your index finger here. For this first groove, we're going to play eighth notes. That means there are 2 notes per every beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's how we count eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So now for our left hand, our basic groove is going to go bass, snare, bass, snare. And the right hand's going to end up playing those eighth notes over the top. So it sounds like this all together. And we're going to call this our basic rock groove, or groove number 1. Probably the most common groove in all music. All American music, okay? So let's break that down. I'll show you an easy way to kind of be able to put that together, because if you just try to do this, it's a little harder than you might think to actually just get all this happening at once. So I'm going to show you a method that I think will help you kind of break it down. So we start with our bass drum and we play our hi-hat together. Can you do that? I call that together. That's where you're playing the hi-hat, the closed hi-hat, and the bass drum. Can we do it together? Try again. Just get used to what together feels like. Good. Now, we do it together, and then we play a hi-hat alone. And I call that together alone. Let's try that. Together alone. Do it again. Together alone. Together alone. Together alone. Together alone. So all of our grooves for right now are always going to start with bass drum and hi-hat, and then we're going to play an alone. Together alone. Great. Now you're halfway there, because the second half of the groove is almost the exact same thing. What you're going to do, you played this. Now you're going to switch to the snare drum with your left hand, and you're going to do the exact same thing with the hi-hat. You're going to play together, alone. Try that on the snare drum. So you do together, alone. Try it. Together, alone. Together, alone. So the whole groove is going to go bass drum and hi-hat. So together, alone. Try that. And then let's switch over to the snare with this left hand. So you can use your index finger, and you're going to do together, alone there. So it's together, alone, together, alone. Let's try it together. Together, alone, together, alone. and I switched from bass to snare. I did together, alone, bass drum, snare drum, together, alone, Let's try it together. 1, 2, ready, go. Together, alone, Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, play. Together, alone, One more time. Here we go. Together, alone, Take a second and practice that on your own. Remember, we're doing together, alone, bass, snare. Okay, let's try to play it together. So we're going to try to loop a bunch of these in a row, keeping a steady groove. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Together, alone, alone. And if you get off, just try to jump back in on your bass drum and hi-hat. Together, alone, alone. Great. Let's try this. Let's try to go just a touch faster. 1, 2, ready, go. Together, alone, alone. Let's try it slower. Together, alone, alone. Together, alone, alone. Great. I'm going to put on the metronome. We're going to try to play it with the metronome. Okay, 1, 2, ready, here we go. Together, alone. All right, and that is called the basic rock beat. Nice job. Head on over to the assignment.